And that brings us on to a topic that I'm sure is going to bring the first point of contention between us.
Oh, go on then.
So you're a Liverpool fan, huh?
I am.
So, how long have you been a Glory supporter?
I've never been a... Well, I tell you what.
You're going to lie to me now and say you've been to over 100 games and you've supported them since you were 5 and all the rest of this bollocks. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second. They've started winning titles and Champions Leagues and suddenly Liverpool fans are coming out of the fucking woodwork.
They are, right? Right. So
No, you've been a Liverpool fan for a long time, so fair enough.
I'll tell you how long I was a Glory supporter for about 5 minutes. So, FIFA 08 was my first ever FIFA. And for some reason... I really loved Rooney and Ronaldo for some reason. And I said, Mum, do I have to be a Liverpool fan? I really like Rooney and Ronaldo. And she was like, right, if this carries on, you'll be moving to your grandmother's. And then the next week went on a tour of Anfield and I was convinced. But no, she was like, yeah, you're not coming to Anfield if you're a Man United fan, you're staying at home. And I was like, okay, I like Liverpool now. And 100 games later, that is the thing. It has been, they are the one big constant in my life, the one big love. I'm sure my girlfriend would admit it as well, that I love them more than her. And she's now a massive Liverpool fan as well. We've been together for a year and a half, and she knows every single player now, having not watched football in her life. I'm obsessed. I collect shirts. It's something that, especially during COVID times, I was so emotional about losing. That was one of the really bad parts of it, was losing that, going to the game. It's not just going to the game, it's the community around it. So we go up with the supporters club. I've made friends for life in there. And when I moved down to Cardiff, a couple of the lads who I always went to football with live in Cardiff, so it was a much easier time to settle in. And yeah, it's so important to me, massively. And it also is the bane of my life, which is a frustrating situation to be in, because they are shit at the moment.
Well, this is the thing. So, all joking aside, okay, so just to level with you, old man's a Liverpool fan. And were it not for a very odd conversation that I had with my brother and my mother at the age of 4 or 5, I think, Arsenal were playing Liverpool on telly. And I think it was an FA Cup game. And so who are you watching, Mum? I'm watching the red team. Oh, well, I'll support them then. And my brother was like, oh, I'll support the other team then. And it just so happens that it was Arsenal and Liverpool. And from that day onwards, now, it just so happens, and this is how I justify my fandom, fuckers, is my family's from Islington. So it's like, oh, okay, so I do have a legitimate, the family came from there. One split off, went to Twickenham. They support Chelsea now because whatever. Family, but my dad was a 70s Glory supporter because everyone supported Liverpool in the 70s, apparently. So that's where that comes from. And I asked him, so what's it like winning a Premier League title but not really having the license to celebrate it? Like, it feels like Lewandowski didn't get his Ballon d'Or that year, and you guys didn't really get your Premier League title that year. It's in the books, and you've got the trophy in the cabinet, but you didn't have that moment. You know what I mean? What was it like for you?
I look back on it now with a little bit of regret. Like, at the end of the day, I wish I was up in the city. Being able to celebrate, because I'm sure that, and I know for a fact, I know people who were there, that the celebrations in the city were certainly not socially distanced. But it was, it was. We were saying on the coach, I went to pretty much every home game that season, and I said, whatever happens, because we were like 25 points clear. The last game I was at home at. The last game was at home to Bournemouth. It was the last Premier League game before COVID, and then there was a Champions League game against Atletico Madrid, which really shouldn't have gone ahead, but it did. And we should have won anyway, but we won't talk about that. But the Bournemouth game was like, whatever happens, we will be at Anfield at the end of the season to celebrate. We were all going to get dressed up as full kit wankers. It was going to be amazing. And unfortunately, global pandemic got in the way, which is a bit of an issue. But yeah, it was an amazing season. It was one of the best seasons of all time, the second best statistically, behind Man City's Centurions. And yeah, it was a shame that we couldn't like go on and beat them or go on and stay invincible. But Ismail Assar had something to say about that for Watford. So yeah, it was an unbelievable time. But I wish we'd all been there to witness it, and hopefully we can do soon anyway.
But isn't it nice as a Liverpool fan at the moment? So here's how I look at football fandom. Football fandom's great when you're winning. But what's even better, and this is something I spoke to as an Arsenal fan from a young age, is that when you've got a great rival, and we had United, you guys have got City. Chelsea for a period of time were great, but I don't think they ever really had a rival, the ones that, you were kind of thinking that these two are going to go at it this year. Even when Spurs were trying to go for their title at some stage, and they kind of falter every single year. And Leicester City when they won, and even City in the earlier years when they were starting to walk the league every year. Liverpool and City now for me are this generation's great rivals, and even though there doesn't appear to be on the face of it a great animosity between the two teams at the moment, I think if it carries on there will be. There'll start to become a resentment between the two, because it's like, you guys are ruining our dynasty. No, you're ruining our dynasty. And it's like, but it's great from an outsider's perspective because you guys are just taking lumps out of each other season after season. What's it like for you, though? Would you prefer a period of dominance and a bit of a establishment of this is Liverpool's era? Or like me, I almost can't stand to see United the way they are now. It's a shame to see them as pitiful as they are, because it's, how are you guys the treble winners? How are you guys the ones that pushed us to within a 1 point deficit, or like the season we won on goal difference? How are you the same club? It's sad to see, but I don't know.
I enjoy every moment of United's demise. But,
spoken like a true Liverpool fan.
Honestly,
fuck them. Fuck them right in the ear.
Those bastards ruined my childhood. Everyone in my class was a Liverpool fan, a Man United fan, apart from me. And I could have been one. I could have been a sheep, but no, I wasn't. I enjoy every moment, but unfortunately, it looks like with Eric Ten Hag, they've got a semi-decent manager, so they might get back in the top four. And the same with Everton as well. I enjoy every moment of them being in the bottom half of the table. Because
God, Liverpool fans really are vindictive kids. My dad was the same. I asked him the other day, it's like, isn't it a shame? Isn't it a shame about United? No, fuck them. I hope they lose 20. I hope they lose 20 league titles before we even think about them again. Fuck them. I don't even feel that way about Spurs. Jesus Christ! Like, if Spurs got relegated tomorrow, I'd be a little sad about that.
Oh no! There's some Liverpool fans who don't want Everton to get relegated, obviously for the family issues, because they split families. But for me, like they're bitter little bastards. I just hope I hope they fold. Nah, it's serious. In all seriousness, no. For Man City existing, I feel like the existence of Liverpool and Man City now are the two greatest teams to ever play in England, and that's because not because of the success that they've had, but because of the evolution of the game itself. I feel like if you put these two teams in any era, they dominate. I have no qualms about that, and that is no disrespect to the great Man United sides, the great Arsenal sides, the great Chelsea sides, the great Spurs sides, whatever. I just feel like these two are so good and they push each other so hard that there almost isn't a need for animosity. Like, it's all done on the field. And it's a great level of respect between the two. Now, I can't lie. I wish Man City would piss off a little bit and let us have a few more titles. But their existence is the sole reason why Jurgen Klopp is still at the club, in my opinion. I still think there's a hunger from him to get one over on Pep Guardiola. And they are the most beautiful team in the world to watch for me, Man City. And I, as a Liverpool fan, I shouldn't really say this, but I am a massive Kevin De Bruyne sexual. I love him so much. I absolutely adore Edison Moraes and his cool goalkeeping stars. Erling Haaland's an absolute machine. And now Raheem Sterling's gone. I don't really dislike any of their players apart from Bernardo Silva. So at the end of the day, I have no reason to hate them. I just think they're the most beautiful team in the world. But Liverpool have a lot more character and a lot more personality to them, I feel, because there's like they've all been built up. They've not been bought superstars. The whole debacle with City's sponsorships as well don't come into fruition. But on the field, I think it's the greatest rivalry we've ever seen and will ever see.
Nice to see some of that journalistic impartiality on display there. That's magnificent. But here's the thing with that, man. Like, as far as the sort of the era we live in now, and it does feel like a bit of a, I don't want to say an end of an era, because football goes on irrespective of the players in it. But, you know, Messi's getting on, Ronaldo's getting on, Haaland's just coming in. Like you say, the Klopp era has been going on for the better part of what is it? It's been
6 years.
So there you go, 6 years, and
7 years in October.
You forget in football, like, 6 years doesn't seem like a long time. Like, when you think of just 6 years, like, where was I 6 years ago? Okay, well, it was a while ago. But in footballing terms, that's a massive seismic shift in where we were 6 years ago to today. And you think, wow, in another 6 years, Haaland's going to be an established player. Pep Guardiola's probably going to be a distant memory. And who knows where the league's going to be.